This is 1320 AM WKRK in Murphy, North Carolina, cable TV channel 25 and worldwide at country.am. And we're running just a couple of minutes behind, but that's okay, right?
Good morning.
We're not in too big of a hurry this morning, are we?
No, it's a good rainy day. Time to slow down just a little bit.
It's a funny morning.
It's a funny morning. I enjoyed that.
I was reading the commercial. I saw the sheriff over here getting tickled when I was trying to say frozen honeysuckle and combine it with frunny. Anyway, welcome back to the show. You've had a busy weekend, a busy morning this morning, and let's just jump right in there and talk about what all is going on. The most recent thing was the car chase this morning on Highway 294.
Right.
Can you tell us about what happened there?
Yeah, what happened this morning as a direct result of some of our extra patrols that we do, for those of you who may not be familiar, we do extra patrol requests where there are people in areas where there's high crime or they may be leaving town for a few days and just want their house checked, the neighborhood checked extra, or maybe having particular problems there. They just need extra patrol to come through the area. They can call either the dispatch center or the sheriff's office and request that extra patrol. And when we're not on calls, when we're not busy, we'll go through and do some of these extra checks in some of these places in addition to our normal checks. And this morning, one of our officers was out in the 19129 area and had answered a call and had done some stuff out there. And while he was there, he went by one of these extra patrol locations to do a check, and he noticed a vehicle, a pickup truck, acting strangely in the area, driving real slow and just looking strange in the area. He got in position to get behind the vehicle and saw the back window was broken out of the vehicle. And he attempted to stop the vehicle to see what they were doing while the back window was broke out on a rainy day like today, afraid that it might have been stolen. And the vehicle took off, and high-speed pursuit occurred after that. And I say high speed, but on this rainy conditions, anything speed limit or above will be considered high speed. It's a dangerous situation. But the vehicle went out around the Walker Wingate Road area down toward Panther Top and back around Ranger and to 294 and down 294 and ultimately went into Tennessee where Polk County assisted with the chase. And he had a couple of patrol cars on the way down through there. The guy rammed a couple of patrol cars, and we had tried to get him blocked in and get him stopped. And he actually had went down a gravel road where we had officers coming in from both ends, and he tried to go up on a bank and around an officer and slid into him and damaged his car. And the officer was then the first one behind the suspect and got down onto a gravel road there in Tennessee. And I made the decision once we were down there. First of all, before I tell you this, he was on 294. He was crossing the center line and was going around curves on the wrong side of the road, and it was I was afraid that he was going to hit somebody head on. But when he got on this gravel road, and conditions were right, the officer whose car was already damaged performed a maneuver on him to put him out of commission, and spun him out, and we were able to apprehend the subject there on I think it was around Kimsey Dairy Road there in Tennessee. And come to find out, the vehicle was reported to Polk County as stolen. Polk County didn't do a report on it because it was stolen out of Cherokee County, and the subject never did come to Cherokee County to file a report. So we never have a formal report on stolen vehicle. However, the owner did report to Polk County that the vehicle was stolen. And when we searched the vehicle down there, we did find paraphernalia and drugs and things of that nature in the vehicle. So subject's currently arrested in Polk County, Tennessee, and be facing assault charges and drug charges, different things there in Tennessee, and also be come back to North Carolina and face the same charges here in North Carolina.
So basically the motive to run was stolen vehicle and drug possession?
Right, yeah. And probably, we don't know this, we've not interviewed him yet, but probably they were looking for something to break into. By the way they were acting and driving slow and looking at houses, they were probably looking for something to steal.
And there was two passengers or a driver and a passenger?
There was a driver and a passenger. The driver was a male subject from Polk County, and the passenger was a female subject from Cherokee County.
All right. Well, good work on that this morning. And
I have to praise my officers. They did an outstanding job on this. First, just picking up the vehicle and recognizing that it was acting strangely in a neighborhood where we had breaking and enterings, and doing that extra patrol and serving the citizens of the county. That's the first kudos I want to give to my officers. But the second one was during the pursuit and the units that were involved in the pursuit. I went down, got into the pursuit myself to observe. And when we got down there, I noticed that the officers were using extreme caution and we're doing things very safely in the chase, and so I have to give my officers credit that they're very knowledgeable, professional, and did a great job. So I'm proud of them.
Well, very good. Well, good job there. And I know that law enforcement, even all the counties, they operate together as a family.
Right.
They work together. And we want to read this from about Union County and neighboring law enforcement that we posted over the weekend. And a lot of folks just really appreciated the efforts of this one deputy sheriff. And we have great deputies here and law enforcement in Cherokee County as well. But the Blairsville Police Department shared this on their Facebook page. On the morning of Thanksgiving, while most of us were waking up to begin our long day of fellowship with family, Deputy Shane Burnett with the Union County Sheriff's Office was on patrol doing what so many other officers were doing that day. However, Deputy Burnett's day took a huge twist when he saw a house on fire. Deputy Burnett's quick action rescued 2 people from that house who were still sleeping at the house, overcome with flames and smoke. And just want to give a shout out and thanks to the service for Deputy Burnett, who went in and rescued lives and out of a burning house. And that's something that your office, you never know what you're going to walk into from day to day.
That is true, and that's the thing about law enforcement, and that's the thing that we try to get our community to understand and the public to understand. You see so much negativity on TV about law enforcement and the things that's happening around the country. But for the vast majority of law enforcement officers, for the deputy sheriffs that are out there, for the police officers, highway patrol officers, wildlife, all the people that's out here, you don't get into law enforcement for money, and you don't get into law enforcement for a paycheck. It's a calling. It's a desire to serve the citizens. It's a desire to help people. And for the vast majority of the law enforcement officers that are out there, they're good officers that just want to do a good job. And they're out there every day trying to protect people and save lives. And I can't say enough about law enforcement. And it's been my career over the years and how much that I've witnessed and seen over the years and the changes in law enforcement and seen heroic acts and people do. And, a lot of people, a lot of these things that these deputies do like that go unnoticed, and people don't really think about law enforcement until they need them.
What got you into law enforcement? Was there some certain event or something that happened that thought, well, let me just go into this career? What?
Well, there's a couple different things. My desire came from a very early age. Mm-hmm. My grandfather was a Murphy police officer and served here in the town of Murphy. And when I was young, I remember looking at his pictures and seeing the uniform, and he had his old .38 revolver that he carried there for Murphy PD, which I have now. He left it to me after he passed away. Just hearing the stories and things like that, and I can remember one incident that really kind of settled it for me that I wanted to get in law enforcement. I can remember I was just probably in kindergarten, first grade. I was just real young, and I remember my sister, who was older than me, there was a guy on the bus that was picking on her and saying stuff about her and just messing with her and had her in tears. And I was so little I couldn't do anything about it. And I can remember thinking, one day I'm going to grow up, and when I grow up, I want to keep that from happening to other people. I want to protect people. And so that's kind of what got me started down the road of thinking about law enforcement. And like everybody else, when I went to college, I decided I wanted to make money and wanted to be rich and have a good financial living, and went out and did some other things. And one of the careers I went into was welding, and I was a welder there for several years. And but I could never shake the feeling of wanting to go back and help people and serve people and try to make a difference in the community. And so that's kind of what pulled me back, and back to the law enforcement thought. And I decided I would go into law enforcement, and that'd be my career. And may not be rich, but maybe I could help people.
That's great. And you've been in law enforcement how many years now?
Be 20 years this summer.
20 years.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good story. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, it's interesting about the way things work out.
All right. A big event happened on Friday. Black Friday.
Operation Black Friday.
Operation Black Friday 2015. And,
right.
Anyone who has followed either one of our websites or Facebook.
Hit the microphone there. I was trying to roll my sleeves up and hit the microphone. Go ahead.
That was almost funny.
Yeah, it could be funny.
One of those funny times, yes. All right. The Operation Black Friday, 16 people were arrested on Friday. And tell us how this happened and went down.
Well, this is one of those situations where for years, not just since I've been sheriff, but years in the past, people always complained about this residence in Andrews and about drug activity and drug use and young people coming in and out, getting hooked on drugs and things of that nature. Well, when I ran for sheriff, from the people in Andrews and the east end of the county, not just Andrews, but in the Marble Topton area, also in the Andrews area, everywhere I went, people were asking about this residence and about these people. So when I came into office, I sat down with our drug guys and I made this a priority that I wanted this to be on top of one of the issues on top of the list. We had some problems in Hiawassee Dam and some other places that needed some attention, and we did that first. And once we got that kind of behind us, then we looked at Andrews and made this a priority on the list. And one thing that's hard for get people to understand, and they can't really grasp a lot of times about how to effectively fight drugs and
Right.
what law enforcement has to do to fight drugs. Television makes things look so easy. It makes it look like you get information, you just go kick their door in, arrest them, put them in jail, they go to prison for 50 years, you never have to worry about them again. But in reality, it's not that way.
Right.
And so it wasn't an issue of knowing about the residents and knowing what was happening there. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew what was going on in Andrews. And for really the entire year, first year, we've been working on this, and we have been doing observations on the place and have been monitoring traffic coming in and out, tag numbers, known drug dealers coming in and out. We have did all kind of undercover operations and all kind of different things about this residence. But one things that the people of Andrews really, some people understood, some people didn't, was the fact of that if we just rushed in first thing and kicked the door in, you may make an arrest, you may not, and if you did make an arrest, it may be a slap on the wrist and turn loose. Mm-hmm. So we kept monitoring this thing and looking at it, and timing is everything in the drug business. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do things in the right time and the right manner, you're not going to be fruitful with your efforts. So on this particular day, on Black Friday, we got information about the drug activity in there at the house, and that there was information that there was large quantities of drugs coming in around Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So we already had a search warrant ready to go and waiting to go to this house. We were actually going to serve the search warrant one time before, and it kind of got interrupted with some other stuff up there, and we decided to back off and not serve it at the time. And but we still had this search warrant ready, and we got information that there was drugs in the house and other known drug dealers there at the house. So we went ahead and executed the search warrant there on Black Friday. And when we went into the house, they were actually these 16 people. Actually, 14 of the people didn't live there. And these other 14 people that were there at the house were there waiting on drugs to purchase drugs, to distribute those drugs out in the community. And when we went in the house, we were able to catch a trafficking amount of methamphetamine there at the house. And so that's how we got the charges of trafficking. And one thing about trafficking methamphetamine, and the reason we're holding on with these search warrants till we could do this, is it comes with mandatory prison time. Mm-hmm. And not only does it come with mandatory prison time, but it comes with mandatory fines also attached with that. So, you could look at 7 years in prison and $500,000 fine just in possession of methamphetamine. And so or trafficking amounts of methamphetamine, I'm sorry. So we were holding off until we could get them caught with those amounts, and timing was everything. It worked out, and that we were able to be successful and then catch them with that amount of drugs.
What is the definition of trafficking legally?
Anything over 28 grams of methamphetamine is a trafficking level. And then it's depending on how much you have after that, there's different levels of trafficking. So the lowest level was 28. You have to have at least 28 grams or an ounce of methamphetamine.
So trafficking can also be a possession. It's not distributing.
It can be a possession, just being in possession of it. There's different ways of trafficking. There's trafficking by possession. There's trafficking by distribution. There's trafficking by sale. There's trafficking by transporting. So there's different ways you can traffic. And one thing about this, too, in working these cases, our officers are still piecing this together and talking about different people involved in this. There's also a conspiracy statute that is the easiest charge in the world to charge. Mm-hmm. If you have two or more people who conspires to commit a crime and they do an overt act to facilitate that crime, mm-hmm. they're guilty of conspiracy. In other words, if me and you talk about it, I say, Tim, let's go buy a load of drugs and we'll sell them today at the flea market, mm-hmm. and you make a phone call, we've conspired to sell those drugs, and it's a crime to do that. So what the officers are working on is they're working on these people, not only the ones that were at the residence, but other people that's been known to frequent in and out that we can show that has been dealing drugs and selling drugs at that residence. Hopefully we can work this out to where we can do a conspiracy to traffic and charge these other people with trafficking also in the conspiracy. And the good thing about the conspiracy is the punishment for that conspiracy is whatever the crime was you conspired to do. So if trafficking is a 5 to 7 year sentence and $500,000 fine, if we conspire to traffic, it's the same fine, same sentence.
Wow. Okay.
And so that's one of the things we're looking at, is trying to wrap some of these other people up into that. So it takes a long time, a lot of times, to work these kind of cases, to get it done, to make sure you get them caught with the levels they need to serve time and to go to prison. And I know it's frustrating for the neighbors. I know it's frustrating for the people that sees this stuff working in and out. But just make sure people understand and know that we are working on it, that we are doing things. And, for the whole year, I've had to listen to people in Andrews ask questions about why nothing was happening here, why you're not doing that, and why this is not going on. And me knowing the whole time that we're working on it, that we're doing things, but you just can't tell them that. And you can't tell them what you're doing. And so we're just good. Timing was everything. God blessed us. He was on our side on this, and everything coming together in the right time, the right place. And we brought a little relief to those folks at Andrews.
Well, put us on scene there at the actual drug bust. How does that go down? Do officers surround the house to prevent people from running, knock on the door, bust it in?
There's different houses or different ways you do it, depending on the driveways, depending on how the house is situated, located, things of that nature. One thing about North Carolina is we don't have a no-knock statute in North Carolina, which means you have to announce yourself. You have to announce yourself that you have a search warrant. You have to give adequate time for them to open the door before you can break a door down. What that adequate time is depends on officer discretion, circumstances involved. So one place it may be 1 second, one place it may be 5 seconds, another place it could be a minute. It just depends on the circumstances of the house you're going into. But one thing that we always try to do is go from multiple ways if possible, multiple sides of the house. That way, if people do run, if people bail out of back windows or back doors or things of that nature, we have people in position to try to catch them if they go out in a different way.
I was just wondering, with 16 people there, did everyone cooperate?
They did. Most of the people that were there were outside the residence when the officers pulled up and immediately complied with their commands. The other officers, once saw they were complying, the other officers went to the front door, announced the search warrant. And I wasn't there at the time they went in, so I can't talk to the specifics of how that happened. But you announce the search warrant, you let them know they have it. But from my understanding, everybody was compliant. There was no one resisted, no one ran or anything like that. Everybody complied with officers' commands.
Do you have a lot of people calling in the tip line and reporting drug activity?
We do. We almost on a daily basis, we get drug activity reports of some sort, whether it's suspicious vehicles, whether it's an area where people are dealing drugs, whether it's specific people that's dealing drugs. On a daily basis, we get information coming in. We were able to, through these positions that the county commissioners were give us here a few weeks ago to get the 2 new deputy positions and another investigator, we were able to take this additional investigator and put it in the narcotics unit to help them fight the drug issue and the drug problem, because we do have so many information coming in, so much information coming in. We've also taken a part-time deputy with investigative experience and put them in that drug unit also to work on a part-time level, so we can get the adequate amount of people in there just to process the information and put case files together and make sure that we do the things that needs to be done to protect the community and the drug information.
It sounds like some tremendous headway's been made in the breaking and entering problem.
It has, and that was the other thing, with these other positions the commissioners have given us. Now, in the meantime, we kind of fill those positions, but then we've had some other people leave in the meantime. So it's always got people coming and going. It's with any law enforcement agency, that's kind of the way it works. And but by putting these positions on and getting those extra patrols that they're like we had this morning, where we had the extra officer going out and finding things and finding these people out here, we were able to curb the breaking and enterings this month. I think last month in October we had like 44 breaking and enterings, And this month, I think I was going to run the numbers before I came in this morning, but then the chase occurred, and so we didn't have time to run the numbers. But from what investigations are telling me, that was cut dramatically this month, and it's due to a lot of things. One is a lot of these people we have put in jail from last month's breaking and entering, so they're currently incarcerated. Another thing is getting those extra patrol, those extra officers out there in the area. And that's one of my arguments to the commissioners when I argue my point about needing these extra positions. You cannot put a value on being proactive. A lot of people want numbers. They want statistics. They want these things. But if I put extra officers out there patrolling businesses, patrolling homes, patrolling areas, and we're preventing crime from happening, how do you measure that?
Right.
How do you measure a break and enter that didn't happen because you were there? You know,
kind of tough.
Yeah, and so the only thing we can measure by is what it was last month and what it is this month. Are things increasing or things decreasing? And so we have seen things kind of grew and grew and grew over the summer. But by adding these extra officers on the road, we're starting to see things decrease. And of course, with winter, it decreases anyway. You know, there's some validity to say, well, November you're going to decrease crime anyway because that's normal, and there is some validity to that. But we've seen a drastic decrease, not just a slow, gradual. We've seen a drastic decrease this month. So, like I say, I just think we have the best officers in the world in my investigative unit and drug unit. I'd put them up against anybody out there. There's nobody out there that I think is any better.
What's the process if somebody wants to report some information? They just call. Is it quick, short interview?
There's lots of different ways you can do that. Of course, you have our tip lines. We have 800 number. We also have a internet tip line through our website. Facebook. A lot of people message on Facebook about information, either to our sheriff's office page or to me personally. A lot of people will send me information personally on my Facebook page. Several of our officers have Facebook. I know Roger Williams does, one of our investigators, and he does a lot of our computer things. So a lot of people may send him information or other officers they know that has Facebook pages. My number's out there all over the world. I think everybody in the country has my number. So I get a lot of text messages.
Right.
People are just saying, hey, just be advised there's drug activity here or there's a suspicious vehicle there kind of thing. And I kind of joked with dispatch over Thanksgiving. There was one day for, I think it might have been the day before Thanksgiving. There was like 4 or 5 things just right in a row come to my cell phone or Facebook message about things that were currently going on, like drunk drivers and people acting suspicious and drug dealing going on, these kind of things. And I'd pick up the phone and I'd call dispatch and report to them what people are reporting to me so they can get an officer out there. And I was kind of joking with dispatch. I said, I think I'm just going to move the entire operation out of Murphy to my kitchen. just put all the dispatchers in my kitchen because it seems like a lot of information comes through that way. But that's fine. We enjoy getting the information, getting that out to the appropriate people and where it needs to go. And a lot of times people say, well, I hate to bother you, or it may not be anything. And I always encourage people, if you think something is strange or something needs to be reported, report it. Right. If there's nothing wrong and nothing happening, that's great. There's nothing to it. But I'd rather people report something suspicious and find out there was nothing wrong with it as to not report something suspicious and get homes broke into and drug dealing going on and nobody ever know it. So if there's something going on out there that you think needs to be reported, find a way to report it. You can call the sheriff's office number, report it to anybody there that answers the phone, to 911 center. You can report it to it, or just any law enforcement officer, and they'll get the information back to us.
And that really is valuable information. For example, like you talked about this morning, the extra patrol that had been requested this morning, that situation could have led to something a lot worse than what happened.
Yeah, and instead of having a chase this morning and having 2 people in jail, we could have, who knows, we could have had a home invasion where it wound up with somebody getting killed, or we could be working a lot of B&Es tomorrow where several houses got broke into, So, like I say, it's hard when the commissioners want these numbers, want statistics. It's hard to put value on these things that you're doing. And I think we're getting ready to start into our second year at the sheriff's office, and so far, people have been happy with what they've seen. They've been happy with the progress we've made, the changes that we've done. It seems like the community is very pleased with that. But the thing that we're going to have to start making decisions on for the next years to come is the community happy with what we're doing and just be satisfied with it? Or do they want us to continue to progress and continue to be proactive and continue to do these things? Well, if we progress and get more and more professional and get more and more proactive, then those things are going to require more manpower. They're going to require more resources, and they're going to require, basically more money. They're going to require more finances to do these things. So, if the community's happy with what we're doing and they're saying we're happy with you being reactive, we're happy with you solving crime and solving the B&Es after they happen, if that's what the community wants, that's what we'll continue to do. But if the community wants us to keep growing and to keep advancing and to do like today and stop those things before they happen, then those community members need to be very vocal with the county commission board about that they want to see the sheriff's office grow, and they want to see the sheriff's office put more people on, and want to see the sheriff's office do this. And because the commissioners are going to react to what the people want also. And they're trying to do the best they can with the finances, and their job is to make sure that money's not wasted and take care of the finances and everything in the county gets taken care of. So if people are not telling the commissioners these things, they're not going to be likely to give extra things that's out there because they're being very frugal with the money. And rightfully so. That's nothing bad about them. That's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. Right. And but if the community wants to see us add more people and grow and become more professional and more proactive, then those are things they're going to have to go to the commission board as a public, as a community, and be very vocal about that. That's what they want.
All right. Well, our time has quickly come and gone, Sheriff. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye for the day?
No, I just want to once again tell everybody Happy Thanksgiving. I know we're coming out of our Thanksgiving season and getting ready to go into our Christmas season, but I think we should always be thankful every day. I think every day should be Thanksgiving.
25 days left until Christmas.
There you go.
All right. This month is gone quickly. So, Sheriff, thanks for being with us this morning, and thanks for all the good work you're doing in the community.
Thank you.
All right, this is WKRK Radio in Murphy, North Carolina.